So the first thing that this textbook is going to teach you is how to sell. And selling is really a process. You don't have to have a certain personality. You don't have to be good with speaking or convincing. You just have to follow the process. So the process basically occurs in 5 steps. Number one is rapport building. And this is where you're doing something that will motivate or inspire the prospect to trust you in some way, to feel close to you, to feel comfortable talking to you because you seem like a good, honest person, a trustworthy person. So that's the rapport building phase. And it's an important phase because the next phase is needs assessment. And this is where you need the collaboration of the prospect. So the second phase, needs assessment, is where you're asking questions and hopefully the prospect will give you honest answers so that you can determine what they need and the budget that they have and the time that they have. Because a lot of time people have the money, but they don't have the time to learn about your product, or they have the time to learn about your product and service, but they don't have the money to pay you. So this is where you qualify the prospect and you get to know what they really need. And sometimes they will tell you, they have a certain need, but as you talk to them, you discover, very much like a doctor, you discover there's a deeper underlying need that they have. And if you can explain it to them and you can satisfy this deeper need, then you're going to be more helpful to them. You're going to have a bigger impact in their lives. So that's the second step, the needs assessment. The third step is when you're presenting in a dramatic fashion, because later on we're going to discover that people buy based on emotions, not intellect. So you present in a dramatic fashion your the relevant products and the relevant solutions given what the prospect needs. And So you're getting the prospect excited about the product. You talk about the benefits and the improved life that they're going to have after they buy the product. So this is where you have to show showmanship. You have to you really rehearse your presentation because every word has to be the right word. Every image, every picture has to be the right image or picture because you really, it's like as if you're a movie director. You want them to feel a certain way about your product so that they feel super motivated emotionally to buy your product. Now, there's emotions and there's intellect. So even though they are emotionally compelled to buy your product, their intellect will raise certain objections, and that's phase number 4. They will say, well, I need to talk to my wife or husband, or I need to talk to my team, and I don't have the budget right now, and I tried that before, it didn't work. So these are what they call objections, and objections from the prospect's point of view are valid reasons why they should not buy your product, or at least they should pause and carefully consider reasons why they shouldn't buy your product. So it's totally valid. But an objection is really just an occasion for you to really help the prospect to overcome certain objections from their intellect, so that they can make an informed and confident decision. So an objection is really an opportunity for you to help the prospect to make up his mind, right? And so you should always have a notebook full of objections, potential and common objections, and your rebuttals to those objections. And if you have all the rebuttals and you rehearse the delivery of those rebuttals, then phase number 4 is going to be okay. And the last phase is the easiest, the fastest, but sometimes the most difficult. And this is where you're making an attempt to close the deal. You're offering choices or options, and no matter which option the prospect chooses, he's going to buy. Like, for example, you can say, would you like us to deliver this to your office or to your home? Right? It doesn't matter what option they choose, they're going to buy the product. So you got to be clever, and clever in a kind, well-meaning sense, because you want to close the deal. You want to help the prospect to make up his mind. So those are the 5 steps of any sales process. And if you practice them, you're going to become a pretty good salesperson fairly quickly. So that's what I'm teaching in my sales course.